Perfect. If you aren't already perfectly relaxed, figure out a posture or a position that does bring you some relaxation. As I said, we are going to start with a tarot reading, so we should feel good about ourselves. Perfect. Excellent.
Hello.
Hi, my friend. Uh-oh, I think I just exited. Whoops. All right, viewing the request. Here we go. Let's try it again.
Okay, going through it. Hello.
Whoa, sorry about that.
I was like, am I in? Give me
You're
one
in.
second. I'm
Welcome.
trying to set up my phone in a
Okay.
way that will allow me to pull and speak at the same time. And I thought that I'd figured this out, but I didn't. So we're gonna do it now. How are you?
I'm well. Well today.
I'm feeling.
We'll leave it at that. How are
Okay.
you?
I'm doing well. I'm trying to, you know what? We're just gonna migrate, everyone. I'm doing well. It's been a very retrograde day for me, as you can see with the current tech issues I'm having.
Mm-hmm.
But leaning into the fact that that's okay. So we're here. I'm going to sit at my desk while we pull some cards. Hi, everyone. And thank you to everyone who's participating, not just in this reading, but obviously in yoga with Chelsea. Hola, mis amigos, mi gente. Okay. Hoy estamos tratando algo nuevo y queremos dar, una práctica bilingüe. Y es algo que yo no he hecho. This is something that I have not done bilingually before. Pero como maestra bilingüe, as a bilingual educator, and just a bilingual person who is very proud of being bilingual, I was very excited when Chelsea offered me the opportunity to also extend the bilingualism to this practice. So I'm very excited. Espero que el mensaje le llegue como le llegue. It's going to be a lot of Spanglish. I hope the message comes to you as it comes to you. But thank you for receiving me in such a full way. It makes me feel really good about the extension of my practice into spaces that really feel like home. So I'm grateful. And so I will say, Charles, I don't know, is there anything on your mind that we can maybe tap into as we try to ground this practice as our facilitator in yoga through this reading?
Honestly, I love that you asked me that because I'm still triggered, forever triggered. But specifically about the Saturn Uranus Square, I feel it already, and I guess I want to sort of speak to that energy or see how the cards would recommend that we work with it.
I love that. And for those of you who don't really know much about this square, attention. Pardon me, it's definitely attention astrologically that just surfaces a lot of information. And so, we talk about this at Soul Lake a lot, but clarity sounds like a beautiful word because it is a beautiful word and it's a beautiful thing, but that doesn't always mean that, the truth is the shit we want to hear. And so I think these last couple of days, and we'll kind of continue continue to feel this the next couple of days. And we're seeing this publicly, right, with like celebrities and systems and politics. Things are surfacing quickly, abruptly and intensely. And so that is a mirror for our personal lives as well. And I think that manifests very differently for all of us personally, but I think that's a great way to ground this reading. And I will say the first card that jumped out already, la primera tarjeta que salió para nosotros, is the Six of Cups.
Okay.
And those of you who are familiar with tarot cards at all, I encourage you to also find your own meanings in these, of course. You are a vessel just as we are. But really thinking about, and I think of two things when I see this card immediately, and those two things are our inner child and community building. And oftentimes when we're still working through some of the traumas that we know are present because of the ways in which we were brought up, or, you know, our family dynamics, or just the forms of abuse and trauma that we experienced growing up, it becomes more challenging to build authentic, genuine, long-lasting community with one another. And so while this card in the positive sense obviously leans into the fact that when we do that work, you know, the love, the community, the power that we're able to collectively build is strengthened tenfold. But as we think about this square, as we think about retrograde, as we, you know, are still in eclipse season, we think about, you know, how a lot of the time that we know that work to be everlasting, right? So it's like, yes, it feels really good to feel like we've sat in some shit and worked through it, but we know that these are all just pieces to the same puzzle. And so my healing is your healing is my healing. And I hope that through both, you know, these tools and whatever tools you use on your own, you're feeling grounded in that, you know, even on the bad days. And I think that's something that really grounds me. Y para dar un ching en español, como dije que iba a ser bilingüe, y estoy aquí en inglés. Esta carta tiene mucho que ver con nuestro trauma personal, pero también en las formas que buscamos e iniciamos comunidad uno con otro. Y lo que estaba diciendo antes es que algunas veces cuando no nos hemos concentrado en esa parte personal, es mucho más difícil de empezar a cultivar este sentido de comunidad uno con el otro. Y ese es nuestro trabajo. Cuando hacemos ese trabajo personal, podemos hacer ese trabajo como en comunidad también. So our personal work allows us to do that community work better. And Chelsea, I offer you to jump like as well if things come up for you.
Well, I mean, the fact that you're speaking to community and this is a collaboration between us, Soul Lake, and Auntie Vasen, I think that matters, right? I don't think it's happenstance that we are building community on opposite ends of the nation. I'm in San Francisco. You're in New York. You're in Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn. Auntie Vasen is in Brooklyn. Like, I think that's really powerful and sort of speaks to the fact that like we are doing the work and trying to re-envision community even when we're not literally right next to each other.
I love that. I love that so much, especially as a transition into the next card that I just pulled, which is the Two of Wands. And for those folks watching, and those folks who do watch, obviously you can see the physical representation here with these two swords, but also the blindfolds. And I really like focusing on that when I pull this card specifically, because, you know, when we think of sword energy, it is a lot about thoughts. You know, it's air sign energy. It's like things we're thinking, cultivating new ideas, new frameworks. It is also about systems and system building. And I think to what you were just saying, Chelsea, and also a lot of the astrology that's going on right now, this idea of like making invisible work visible seems really, really, really potent right now. And I say that to say, you know, I say this as we're on Instagram, but it's obviously less about posting our yoga and Instagram than it is about doing the yoga and the tarot, right? And so oftentimes when we are stuck between hard decisions, hard transitions, hard changes, hard shifts, the faith that we have to have in the unseen is a little unbearable. And I think that this Uranus Saturn square actually speaks to that a lot. It's like, have patience, but you might literally get some of the truth tomorrow or in 5 minutes, but continue to have patience because that's not the full picture. Continue to have patience because just because we accrue new information doesn't mean we're ready to act yet, right? And not particularly in alignment with our best selves sometimes. So this idea that we can continue to honor our beliefs, our value systems. We can continue to build community. We can continue to uplift one another, even in moments where there's a lot of uncertainty. I think that's actually a really big piece to ground us in this time. And I think that that's something that, as I'm speaking, it is certainly grounding me in everything that I've been feeling as I'm present in this space. It's like, how can we actually acknowledge a lot of the work that we don't make visible as like a really firm foundation for the time when we do have all the puzzle pieces and we do feel like we have enough clarity to take action, because that may not be right now, and that's okay. En español, hablando mucho de paciencia, esta carta nos enseña que algunas veces no sabemos todo lo que está pasando, y en términos de hacer decisiones es importante de recordar que algunas veces, aunque el universo y Dios nos como que empieza a añadir pedacitos de información, nos sentimos como que ya estamos preparados para tomar acción. Y eso no es la realidad. Muchas veces tenemos que tener una paciencia y también tener fe que la realidad y la verdad que vamos a obtener durante este tiempo nos va a servir en una forma mejor de lo que queremos hacer ahora mismo. And I'll say that in English because I think that is a big piece of it too, is like the faith and understanding that the truth that is going to be uncovered will serve us better than the thing that we want to do right now. And I think that that's also a really big key to this time period. And I've been feeling that myself. So I say that as though it's easy to do. And I want to recognize that it is not. But it is a powerful, powerful idea and notion and faith to lean into. To all of our new friends who just jumped in, I am speaking two languages. So if you jump in when the Spanish is happening, know the English will come back. I'm a very Spanglish person. Así es que hablo, así que enseño. This is how I speak. This is how I teach. And so I'm trying to do this as naturally as I can.
It feels natural to me.
Thank you. Let's see what else jumps. And so here we have.
What's that?
The Six of Wands, Four of Wands. I think it's four. Yes, it is. And so wand energy is action energy. So I think actually super interesting to think about in conjunction with what we were just talking about, right? This idea that like, this is a celebratory card. And I think speaking to what I just ended on when talking about the Two of Swords, it's like, right, but this takes time and patience and faith. And this takes waiting for moments because it's action energy, right? But it's like, okay, you were willing to do the work and remain patient. And then when you took action, oh my God, all these beautiful things came to fruition. It's almost like receiving the blessing for your patience. And I think this last year had a lot to do with that in general, right? And just testing our boundaries, adding a lot of limitations to us that required patience, whether we wanted to have it or not. But I think this time period also, eclipse season, we have 9 more days of retrograde, these squares that are really, really potent and powerful. I don't like viewing them as like tests per se, but I do think there's something to be said about like the energetic shift that we're going to feel as we move out of these kind of portals, right? Sitting with tremendous emotional weight and tremendous mental chaos feels vastly differently than being in a space where you are community building with confidence, where you are putting your creative projects into action, where you are actually stepping into spaces that you want to be a part of. Those are really different feelings. And I think that we're internalizing a lot of what's happening right now in really good ways. And I'm grateful for all of the folks that continue to share the messages that come up for them throughout this time period, because that helps me and grounds me too. But I say that to say, I'm so excited to see the messages that we're all receiving in like 2 months from now, during Leo season, during Virgo. And these are the times where we're really going to be stepping into ourselves, right? And into ourselves, but in these more public ways. Whereas right now we're doing that in very, very intimate, personal ways. Both are important, but I guess I would take this as a message that it's like a reminder, this comes too. Don't worry, this comes too. Every time the universe will not leave you in a state of lack. You will not be without. But it's okay to not have all the answers right now. It's okay to not know everything right now. It's okay to not know every right direction right now. So en español, para transicionar un poco después de esto a la práctica de Chausa, estamos hablando de esta carta que salió y tiene que ver mucho con la acción. Y como estamos hablando, algunas veces no podemos tomar acción hasta que tenemos toda la información que necesitamos. Y esta carta es como una promesa de Dios, del universo, que nunca nos va a dejar en una posición en la cual no podemos tomar la acción necesaria. Nunca nos va a dejar en una posición que nos sentimos completamente solos, que no podemos activar nuestra creatividad, que no podemos colaborar, que no podemos encontrar comunidad. Eso no es una realidad en la cual nosotros vamos a existir. Nosotros vivimos en comunidad. Nosotros hacemos este trabajo en comunidad, pero algunas veces, otra vez, ese trabajo personal, tenemos que darle y honorarlo con el tiempo que merece antes de tomar los pasos para celebrar, para activar esa comunidad, para activar esas colaboraciones. Y las dos partes de esa transformación que estamos tomando todos, los dos son importantes. Y si no le damos la atención a una, lo privado, lo público no va a ser lo mejor que puede ser. Y si pasamos demasiado tiempo en lo privado, pero entonces no le damos nada a lo público, lo privado, maybe estamos tomando demasiado tiempo ahí y necesitamos a otros para poder aprender en diferentes maneras y resolver y reflejar en diferentes maneras. So equally important, but I think this is really calling for a balance of our personal and our collective. And that's what's coming to mind for me as I try to transition to Chelsea, because I do want to get into your practice. Really tapping into the ways in which, you know, we can honor our solitude and honor our community. And that shifts and changes all the time. And so it's up to us to really sit down and think about where we are, what our current needs are, what our current wants are, who is around us that is trying to cultivate the same type of energy, and think about how we can lean in, right? Both to ourselves and our space and our practices, and into others, into giving, into community building, into collaborating. You know, safety is important, feeling safe is important, feeling confident is important, but risk taking is also important, right? That's fire energy. Sometimes we also have to remind ourselves that some of this transition is happening because we are entering into newness, right? We're entering into change. And so lean into the things that make you comfortable to best prepare you for the risks that you are likely going to be taking in the rest of 2021. Again, particularly once we get past these kind of portals of energy that are really pushing us inward, and we hit Leo season and Virgo season, we're really going to be feeling that newness. And so take time to ground yourself in the things that make you feel safest, most confident, most comfortable, but also prepare yourself for the fact that the unknown can really bring some beautiful blessings when we're willing to take some risks along with it.
Whoa, sis. Whoa, what a gift. What a gift. I mean, I know you have to hop off, so we won't keep you, but sincerely, thank you so much for that.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, mi corazón. This makes me very, very full. I'm so grateful. I hope we can do this again. I'm sorry that I can't join yoga now, but I will be playing this back and practicing later. So I hope y'all will do the same if you're not.
Yo, it's all good. It's all good.
And I hope everyone has a beautiful rest of the day, and I will be with you all soon again. I hope this made me feel so much fuller. Thank you so much. Thank you. This was an offering that I received as well. I say.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Friends and family, let's get into the asana portion of this practice. Asana just means the physical practice. Now, we learned a lot with those cards, so I am going to try and integrate the messages that we've been receiving. This isn't going to be vinyasa, it's decided, right? That's out the window. We're going to make ourselves feel comfortable. So let's go ahead and lay on our backs. Lay back. Woo! Stretch your arms over your head. Stretch your legs out. It's basically like we're just waking up all over again with the new information. Now give yourself a hug while still lying down. You deserve this hug. Give yourself a hug. Pay attention to your breath, Ujjayi, breathing in and out of your nose. Slowly bring your right knee into your chest. Squeeze it in. Inhale, straighten your right foot or your right leg. So your right leg is in the air. You can grab your right leg with your right hand or your left hand. You can try grabbing your shin or your calf. Bend your right knee, bring it back into your chest. And now drop your right leg back to your yoga mat. We're going to switch sides. Bring your left knee into your chest. Create space by taking deep, full breaths. Straighten your left leg. You can grab your left ankle, your calf, your shin, and just gently pull your left leg towards your face. Bend your left knee, bring it back into your chest. And now straighten your left leg. Gently lift yourself up into a seated position. Cross your legs in front of you. Take it easy. Whew, we're still in eclipse season. Don't get got. And now roll your neck out. Whatever that means to you, roll your neck out. And now go the opposite direction. Whew, my neck is just crack-a-lacking. Wow. Pause, sit up straight. Now I want you to roll your wrist out. Be sure to really wiggle your fingers. Get into it. Yes, MAGA. Go ahead and grab or pull your right hand. Yeah. Pull your right fingers back gently with your left hand. Opening up the wrists. I know some of you have been just typing away today or counteracting that. And now switch. So do exactly what you did on your right hand with your left hand. Allow yourself to feel all of this. And release. Now come onto your hands and knees for tabletop. But rather than being stagnant, go ahead and move your hips and move your spine. Roll your neck. Maybe this is all we need right now, right? With all the squares and the tension. We just need to shake it out. Move your body as much or as little as you'd like. We are still technically in tabletop. No need to judge yourself. Just close your eyes and move. Pause. Now stand up on your knees. This is like my all-time favorite pose. It's called camel. What do you think you do? You lean back. That's it. Lean back and look at the wall behind you. Lift up. Bring your arms up over your head. And just stretch upward. No need to strain yourself. No need to force it. Just do what feels good. That's good enough. Drop your hands back down. Now they can come to your low back or they can come to your ankles, right? Whatever your flexibility is right now. But we're doing camel. So drop back and breathe. Ujjayi breath. Lift up. This time, I want us to come onto our forearms. Just drop your forearms down. Bring your feet behind you into a forearm plank. I hope you guys can see this. Forearm plank. We're not stressing. We're not straining. We're just chilling in this posture. Drop your knees down. We're coming back to our final camel. Yes, you can. Si se puede. Look towards the back wall. And lift up. Okay, no more back bends. We did it. Hope it felt nice. Bring your right leg in front of you. So your left knee is still on the mat. Your right leg is in front of you. It's bent. And yes, we're coming into a low lunge. So hands on the opposite sides of your feet. Just looking forward. Come onto your tippy toes and then rock back a little bit. This is just a micro movement. Rock forward and back. Don't make it more than it is. Just keep rocking. So I promised you guys mobility. This is like kind of, sort of mobility. Make the most out of it. Now come back into a high plank. We already worked out our wrists, so I believe that we can come into a high plank nice and safe. And then press yourself up and back for downward facing dog. Pedal it out. That means bend your right knee, then bend your left knee, and keep alternating, opening up your calves. And then drop back down to your knees. Ooh, see, I told you, no vinyasa today, no vinyasa. Lift yourself up. Bring your left foot in front of you. And then bring your hands to the sides of your feet, low lunge. And then we're going to rock forward and back, just like how we did on the opposite leg. Forward and back. This practice is a lot about being gentle, fully feeling into any motion that you're doing, not taking the simplicity for granted. Step your left foot back. You're in a high plank. Exploring this posture. And then press yourself back into upward or downward facing dog. Excuse me, downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Bring your knees back down to the mat. But this time I want you to bring your right foot forward and then lay your right leg down for half pigeon. If that was like super duper confusing for you, just make your way into this posture that you see, right? Your right leg is like parallel to the top of the mat. It doesn't have to be, but that's like how it's often explained. Focusing on comfort, focusing on relaxing, and then lay yourself over your leg. Honestly, the beginning of this posture feels a lot like a Saturn Uranus square. Tight. But keep breathing into it. Keep breathing into it, and it will make sense. This is a great opportunity to focus in on your inner dialogue. When we're uncertain, where do you go? When you're not in action, where do you go? Listen in. Walk your hands back. Lift your torso up. Gently, gently find your way out of half pigeon back into downward facing dog, upside down V. You know what your body needs. You know the ways in which you like to exit a posture, so just do that. We'll meet you in downward facing dog. Come back to your knees. Bring your left knee your left leg to the top of the mat, and then lay it down, half pigeon yet again. Making ourselves comfortable in the bodies that we're in. Breathing in. On the exhale, spill forward. Keep holding this posture. So in tension and uncertainty, sometimes we do things to just be doing things. Yoga tells us to be still. It tells us to feel. It tells us to explore. It tells us to go deep. Let's honor that. Keep breathing. Walk your hands back, nice and slow. Lift your torso up. Make your way, however you choose to, out of half pigeon into downward facing dog. Child's pose. Knees are open really wide. Arms are outstretched in front of you. Resting. Walk your hands over to the right. Sit back a little more. Walk your hands over to the left. Let out a good yawn if you need to. And then let's come into a seated meditation. I'm hoping that this practice is well-rounded. Yoga is not just about the physical aspect, right? It's not about the poses, the postures. It's very much about the inner work. It's very much about communing with the higher spirit, with nature, with all that is. So we do a lot of activity to allow ourselves to be still, to be present. But let's do that in community today. So take a deep breath in. Audibly exhale. Let's do it again. Breathe in. Audibly exhale. One more time for good measure. Breathe in. Let it go. Breathing as you normally would, eyes shut. We call on our ancestors in this moment, calling them to us, acknowledging their ever-present selves. We recognize that our ancestors are here with us in and through all this uncertainty. We honor the fact that their life was uncertain as well. And although we may only have a piece, a bite, a snapshot of what's to come, we are grateful. Our breath, our pranayama, connects us both to the past, to the future, and to right now. We're just breathing. Thank you for the uncertainty. It helps me find my true path. Thank you for the uncertainty. It helps me find my true path. Breathe in. Hold it at the top. Release. Flutter your eyes open. I want to thank you so much for joining us, Soul Lake Remedy and Auntie Voss and NYC, for this yoga tarot meditation experience. I hope you got something out of it. Have a great day.